Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 77 of This Week in Geek. My name is Ren Geekness, and I am, of course, joined by my co-host, Zach Pope. How are you doing today, Zach?
I'm doing great, man. 1 week from today, I'm getting married. But
That-
then,
yeah.
like 6 days from today, I get to meet you in person.
Yes, we
in real
finally
life.
get to meet
It's
in
gonna
real
be
life.
yeah, but like, watch, Ren's gonna show up and it's gonna be like a catfish. Like, I'm gonna be like, who is this? He's gonna have like
I was
not
going to
long
say the other way
hair.
around.
He's not gonna have long hair. He's gonna be like 4'11".
I'm going to be blonde again.
4'11". Dude, you should.
Yeah.
You might as well. Why not?
Yeah, might as well. Why not?
It'd be cool with your suit. I think you should. I think you should do this.
Yeah, it's too much because I can only because when I
Nope,
first
you're okay. Do it. Why not? Why not?
when I first dyed my hair, I had short hair. And that took like hours. I can't imagine what it would be like to dye this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, it'd be a while.
My scalp would probably not like it a lot. That's the main thing. It's not even me. It's my scalp. Because if I burn this, there's no going back, baby. And this is my pride and joy. So I'm keeping it.
Hey, I get it, man.
Jet black. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. However you're joining us. In case you're new to the show, thank you so much for joining us live on YouTube, on the repeat, on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. And Zach, do you want to remind everyone or tell everyone where they can find the audio version of our podcast?
Yes. So type in on Spotify, Apple, I think even Amazon Music. It's called This Into the Geekverse with Zach Pope. That's where our podcast will now be. I'll start putting links soon. There's some more things coming that thing too that I have not officially announced, but this is where This Week in Geek will live on audio only.
All right, everyone. And in case you're new to the show, we have 3 segments in this show. The first segment is when me, Zach, and then some of you guys in the live chat look back to everything we watched this past week and rank it from the worst to the best. That's our weekly ranking segment. Then we go into the main topic, which is the topic you see on the title, on the thumbnail. And there's a little post on my community tab with the thumbnail for this video. That is where you leave your questions for the third segment of the show. In case you're not in a position to give us a super chat or a tip link, in which case we will immediately, and we guarantee we answer your questions, just leave them on the community tab. We'll do our best to get to them, but we can't always guarantee that every question will be answered. But without any further ado, Zach, why don't you get us started with your weekly ranking?
All right. So my weekly ranking at the bottom starts off with Shark Tale. At one point in my life, I thought this was Robert De Niro and Martin Scorsese's best movie ever. I actually think they should do an animated film again. I think they need to make up for us. But in all honesty, like, this film's like fun. It's fine. It's whatever. Like, I just put it on to work out too because I didn't want to pay attention, and I somewhat did pay attention for a majority of it. So I like it. Don't hate me. Up next, I have this movie called Loss of Essence. My friend Tyler Tompkins helped produce this movie. It's like a $70,000 indie film. So I watched it. It was pretty good. I liked it. I think it would have worked better as found footage. It's about like a group of filmmakers that go out to like a forest to film a film. And on the final day of shooting, they all kind of start to go crazy in a more hilarious, dramatic, dark comedy way. And I liked it. I liked it for what it was. You can rent it now if you want to check it out. There's a couple things that I think hold the film back, but overall, solid movie. Up next, I finally watched The Zone of Interest.
That's right.
Really liked it. I think it maybe would have worked better as a short film. I've started to think on that a little bit more, maybe a little bit shorter. But you are not wrong, Ren. This would be a completely different movie if you didn't watch it with sound.
Yeah.
So the sound is still kind of going down my goosebumps and going down my back, but the film has stuck with me for the most part. And while you've said, yes, this is one that I'll never watch again for other reasons, this is also one that I'll just never watch again because I don't care to. I liked it. It's not my cup of tea, though. It's one of those films that I more appreciate than anything else. But I can get why everyone loves it. Which is why I'm probably going to get shit on for my next choice, because I'm my number 2 for the week. It's Argyle. It's Argyle's awesome.
Yes.
It's overhated. It's not perfect, don't get me wrong. Way too long, 20 minutes too long, maybe 3 or too many twists, personally. And a little predictable as you kind of get to the middle of the story. I was like, all right, I kind of know where this is going to go. But it's that Matthew Vaughn flair. It's kind of like everything thrown into the bucket. I loved the action in here. I loved how bombastic it went. The colored smoke scene to the ice skating scene. Both of those were great. And I had an awesome time with it. I think the end credit scene is fine. I didn't think it was honestly needed. I understand what they're trying to do. I think it's like a cool nod and a cool like, oh, okay, but I don't know. And then the reveal of the author is dumb. I don't believe it. I don't believe that still. But I think Argyle's a good time. And I think if you didn't like this movie, I maybe can understand, but like I think this is Matthew Vaughn's best thing since Kingsman, like the first one. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I like Golden Circle a little bit more because I love Eggsy, but also Sam Rockwell. Never knew in my life that I would want him to play as a spy, and I'm sold. He is so good. And I was listening. Did you listen to the Chris Stuckman podcast?
Yes, I was just listening today on my workout.
That was excellent. And I loved Matthew Vaughn's direction that he gave Sam Rockwell. Like kind of a little bit of Austin Powers, a little bit of this. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense on why his performance is like that now.
I love, not to take away from what you're saying, but I did love what he said also about Harry Cavill's performance. But the way I see it, because he described him, he's a little bit of Sean Connery Bond. He's a little bit of a Roger Moore Bond.
Yeah.
The way I saw it, it was if like how I would have directed Harry Cavill was, you are Sean Connery Bond, but the rest of the world around you sees you as Roger Moore Bond. Or rather, the rest of the world around you is a Roger Moore Bond film, but you're Sean Connery. That's the way I see it, at least.
Yeah, it was great. But my number one for the week is the Grounded 2, The Making of The Last of Us Part 2. It's my favorite video game of all time, so there is like pure biasness to putting this on my number one. But I remember watching the original one and thinking, this is really good. But like this one, they've had this footage since 2023, and it kind of amazes me how long they held on to it for. But you can really tell, and this is one thing I've kind of just learned, is like Neil Druckmann, in a way, wants to be like, is a storyteller. And how, like, in every way, like I still contend that he changed the medium of gaming forever. He showed that like games, and we had seen this for a while, but like there was something special about that first Last of Us game. And now getting to see how they were making the second one, and with the announcement of the third one, which was cool. I've actually heard rumors of what the third one is about, and I am very curious to see. I mean, if people think the second one is, we can talk about it off air because I'm not supposed to say anything, but like, if people think the second one is, what's the word? Everyone was
controversial.
Yeah, controversial. The third one's going to be even more.
Okay.
So very curious to see how it goes, but overall, I love this documentary. I think it was maybe a tad bit too long, but I love how it went through the entire process of creating a video game. And I just learned creating a video game is a miracle. Just as it is making a movie, I do not understand how they create video games. And I still don't really after this, but it just looks like a lot of hard work, a lot of crunch time. And also it makes sense watching this, why we have not gotten a new game from them since this. It seems like they've really changed a lot of their mandates, and they put everything into making The Last of Us Part 2. They stopped everything to make this damn thing. So I know they've opened up and made the studio bigger. But yeah, I'm very excited to see what Naughty Dog does. This continues to be why they are my favorite video game developers, and I highly recommend watching this. It's free. It's free.
Yeah, true.
So,
all right. In my last place is going to be a movie that I just watched, and it just came out yesterday on Paramount Plus. But I watched it this morning, like an hour. I finished an hour before we went live. That is The Tiger's Apprentice. This is a like fantasy sort of action film involving mythos about the zodiac. It just feels very cheap. The animation is not great. It's got a great cast of Sandra Oh, Greta Lee, Leah Lewis, Henry Golding, Michelle Yeoh is in this. Like, it's got a really good cast, but the movie is just very bland. It feels like the microwave version of a story you've seen 1,000 times before. You have seen worse versions of this kind of story. You have seen also better versions of this kind of story. On top of that, I'm going to have, now this is a movie I watched on either on Tuesday or on Monday. I asked for a screener for this film so I could watch it ahead of release. And then I watched it, and I didn't have a particular unique take on it. I didn't have anything special to say about it. And that is Orion and the Dark. This is the new DreamWorks animated film that's on Netflix. It's written by Charlie Kaufman, and that is weirdly the biggest strength of the film and the movie's biggest weakness. Because if it's Charlie Kaufman, you're going to get into existential, philosophical, like these very, very high concepts that the movie just doesn't have time to explore and doesn't bother exploring in their great nuance, in all their depth. You don't have time for it. So it's a film that mixes a little bit of the art style of TMNT with the art style of Mitchell's vs. the Machines, with the art style of a Pixar, but specifically kind of what they went for with Luca. And then in its ideas, in its themes, it's interesting enough because it's about to do something different, but it turns around to be more conventional, which there's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't make it bad, but there's just nothing too terribly memorable about this one. On top of that, I'm going to have Argylle. This is a blast. This is my second favorite movie of the year so far. I think it's a great time. Everyone knows exactly what movie they're in. Matthew Vaughn is stretching all his best filmmaking muscles. Honestly, after watching Argylle, I gotta say, this has got to be the best current action filmmaker this side of the John Wicks and the Mission Impossible. Because the way he does action is just a very unique style. Might not be up your alley. It's not my favorite kind of action even, but it stands out. You know exactly what a Matthew Vaughn movie is because of the action. Again, the entire cast is fantastic. You shouted out Sam Rockwell. Love Sam Rockwell. Bryce Dallas Howard. Give her 100 more movies like these. She's an absolute superstar. And I was watching this film the entire time thinking, I have not appreciated what this woman brings to the screen enough. Because at one point, she became the way I saw it at least, she became a better director than she ever was an actress, at least that I ever saw. This is her best performance. This is the performance of her career, by far. Yes, I'm including The Help. She does everything in this film. Emotionally speaking, you're with her 100% of the way. And then she stretches all these performance muscles that go on all these sorts of directions. She commits to every single one of them, and she pulls off every single one. I'm going to tell you right now, Argylle is my second favorite film of the year. Bryce Dallas Howard in Argylle is the best performance I have seen so far this year. We're early, I know, but
I wanted to ask you,
just
kind of like on a thing with Argylle. How would you put it with Matthew Vaughn's films? Like just off the top with like a ranking.
His best one has got to be either Stardust or the original Kingsman. Then I got to rewatch Kick-Ass, but I'm tempted to put
Kick-Ass is my number
just
one.
right above
I'd like if I were to go right now, I'd go Kick-Ass, Kingsman, X-Men First Class.
Oh yeah, X-Men First Class is the best one. Never mind.
Probably Kingsman Golden Circle, then Argylle, like really hand in hand. I haven't seen Stardust in forever, so I don't fully remember it, but I remember liking it. Then I'd probably go Stardust, Layer Cake, and then at the bottom is the Kingsman. I did not like that movie.
Argyle might be my number 4 or 5. Like I would have to rewatch Kick-Ass. I think I might put Kick-Ass above it. I'm almost sure, but it's either
I can't
right in
believe he's
front or
gonna
right
make
behind
another one.
Kick-Ass.
I can't believe he's gonna make another Kick-Ass.
A Kick-Ass? I don't believe he's gonna make it. I believe he wants to make it. I don't believe he's gonna make one.
Does he get another Argyle? Because after that ending,
Yes.
not the end credit scene, but the ending.
Yes.
I want to see another one, like right now.
Same. I want to see 10 more of these, as long as they have Bryce Dallas Howard. I'm telling you right now, I really liked Argyle. I think it's great. If it loses Bryce Dallas Howard, I'm gonna be like, less excited.
Yeah.
Still excited, but less excited.
Her and Sam Rockwell, though. I mean, Sam Rockwell.
Yes. I would love, for me, I would love to have everyone in this movie back. The people that don't die in this movie, at least. If she's the only one coming back, I'll feel bummed, but I'll still be on board.
Yeah.
Like, without a trailer, without anything. But my number 1 is the same as yours. The Last of Us is my favorite video game of all time. And I say The Last of Us, meaning 1 and 2.
Yep.
I got this tattoo for a reason. You just told me to watch this. I was watching a few other things. And I just kept watching it. And every now and then, just tears start coming out. Like when Laura Bailey talks about what happened to her for playing. Like this entire game, the fact that it's based on a pandemic, it came out during everything about it was a perfect storm of overcoming the odds and coming out all the better for it. This game, and especially after watching the documentary, as someone who, this game is my favorite game of all time, this game should not be this good. This game had everything against it. Not the team, of course. The team working on it are brilliant, from the game designers, the character designers, the writers, the story creators, story directors, all that. Everyone in Naughty Dog is brilliant. But the real world circumstances and adversities that constantly got in the way of this game, even before it was written. This game should not be as good as it is. It should not be as good as the first one. It should not be anywhere near the upper echelon of AAA games made these days. And somehow it's on top of them all.
Yeah.
I think that's something really special.
I cannot wait to see what they change going into the new show. What's the change? Because they're obviously going to change and add things, because I love how, after you finish it, now you have this way to go back through and tinker things. And you know how it starts off in Grounded and how they talk about what the original opening was Tommy crawling out of the basement. Could that be the show? It would be very interesting to start it off already like that. There's a couple other ideas that was interesting to see that they didn't.
My writer and director mind. Here's why I'm thinking no, just personally, because for you and me, for us who've played the games, we're gonna see that and we're gonna understand the reference. I don't know that my parents, who've never played the video game, but I had them watch the show. They absolutely adore the show. I don't know if my parents, the general audience who's only watching the show, if they'll be that. Of course, they'll feel, oh, that's Tommy. He's hurt. What's going on? But it won't be that, oh, my God, the world is crumbling down. What happened to Tommy? But I feel that would be great for the supposed video game focused on Tommy that he mentioned.
Okay.
But I don't know if it works for season 2. Personally,
how would you start it out? How would you start season 2 out?
I would start season 2 out with Abby. I wouldn't start the way. Actually, no. I would start the way the game starts, with entering Jackson, having the scene with the guitar, and then hard cut to Abby.
Okay.
And from there we go to meet Joel. I'm saying that's like the first. I'm not doing that in one episode. I'm doing that in 2, maybe 3 episodes.
So they build up to that. Yeah, because the more I think about it, I really think they can make The Last of Us 2.
You can easily make 2 seasons out of it.
I almost think easily. 3 even too, because I want them. My only complaint every time I've played the second one is I wanted more detail on the Sephiroths and the WLF. There's so much in there that they did not dive into, and they didn't bring it up in there in Grounded. But there's so many levels they designed that they weren't able to get to due to COVID. So
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see on that because Jeffrey Wright's in it and barely
Yeah,
in it.
True. All right, everyone. Let's highlight some of your weekly rankings, and we start with Nathan Madigan. Number 5, Bullet. Number 4, The Man Who Knew Too Much. Number 3, Blood Simple. Number 2, Mildred Pierce. And number 1, The Wizard of Oz, 85th anniversary re-release. Was that in a movie theater? Because that would be fucking amazing. Chico EP. Number 3, Wish. Number 2, The Beekeeper. Number 1, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which I also rewatched like a couple of weeks ago, last month somewhere. All right. Dominican Scott. Number 7, The Amazing Spider-Man. Number 6, The Spectacular Spider-Man. Number 5, Spider-Man versus Venom Saga from the 90s animated show. Number 4, Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, Chicago PD. And number 1, a hot take, Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. I can't compare it to, between The Amazing Spider-Man and Rise of Skywalker, for me, they can both go fuck themselves. But anything else, I don't know that I have watched. At least if you're talking about the 90s animated show, Spider-Man animated series with the Spider-Man versus Venom saga, that would be my number 1, easily. But I haven't watched it in a long time. All right, everyone. With that out of the way, let's move on to our main topic. And our main topic is that Supergirl has been cast. And I personally don't want to dwell too much on our thoughts on the casting of Supergirl, because even in anticipation, myself and Zach, we've talked about our thoughts on the possibility of Milly Alcock being our Supergirl. And now she is. What I said at the time was she's the only choice. She's the perfect choice. She's got this amazing screen presence. I couldn't be happier that she's our Supergirl. I think out of the choices we had, if those were all the accurate possibilities, I think we won the jackpot. And I couldn't be happier that we got Milly Alcock as Supergirl. Do you want to share a few quick thoughts on the casting? Because plenty.
I really liked it. It was when they were all announced, this was the one that I was like, yeah, it seems the most likely. And even hearing James Gunn's talks, it sounds like this was the one person he wanted to audition. And I think it's a really good cat. If you haven't read that comic, she's not the normal Kara, who's like, I don't know. It's gonna be a little bit more badass in my opinion. I think that comic made me like Supergirl a lot more. I've never really liked the character, so
that's the comic you should read if you want to know who Supergirl is. Supergirl isn't the Supergirl from the show, which is just a female version of Clark Kent. That is not who Kara Zor-El is at all. If anything, she's more like Wonder Woman. She's a Wonder Soldier who was born and bred for war since she was a child, and now her entire race has been eradicated. So she's a born and bred warrior that is without a purpose and is suffering from PTSD. Think about that. That's who Kara Zor-El is. Anyway, now we finally got our casting. We know she's going to show up in Superman Legacy, but we had a very interesting week because Argyle came out, and so Matthew Vaughn is getting all these interviews with Matthew Vaughn are coming out. And there was an interview that he mentioned that he's very happy for this casting. He says she's a great actress. He's very interested in the character. Matthew Vaughn mentioned how it's weird that this character was cast without a director for the Supergirl movie, because a director should do the casting. Whoever is directing a movie should do the casting for their film. On principle, I agree with him. However, Supergirl, like we just said, she's going to show up in Superman Legacy. Her first moment on screen is going to be James Gunn directing. James Gunn is putting word to paper, pen to paper, and writing about Supergirl. That's who's bringing Supergirl to life, is James Gunn, through, of course, Milly Alcock. So, again, on principle, I agree with Matthew Vaughn. But James Gunn is directing a movie, and he's the one who cast Milly Alcock as Supergirl. Now, the question one can raise is, well, how long is she going to be in the movie? Is she going to be in Superman Legacy for 5 minutes? For 5 seconds? Is she only going to get mentioned? Is she a post-credit scene? Does she have a supporting role in the film? And then you bring her into Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Zach, what do you think about Matthew Vaughn's comments? And And how do you see it? Is he right? Is he wrong? Somewhere in between?
I think on a typical film, when a typical movie is being made, I agree on that. But James Gunn made a comment, and I like always reading when he responds to people. So for Batman, for instance, when everything was announced, even before Andy Muschietti was announced as the director, or is he still the director? What is he doing?
For what?
Batman, Brave and Bold. I can't remember.
I don't.
He...
Good question. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if
Either way, we'll just say he is for right now, just for layman's terms. But before that, I remember someone was like, "When are you gonna cast a Batman?" And he directly said, "Until we have a script and until we have a director, we will not put him on there." I think there is a director for Supergirl already. I fully believe there is, and it's just not announced. I think a lot of these, there's a lot of creatives already attached that it's just not announced, and some of it's just not leaked out yet, or it just hasn't. And that's my full belief. I think there was a thing in there, because I don't think if she does show up in Superman Legacy, I don't think she'll be in it a lot. I think maybe like an important scene, or maybe he's trying to make a decision on something, and it comes down to Kara having a conversation with him. So who knows? Or maybe it's like an opening scene where they save a bunch of people, and it's action and it's awesome, and Kara and him are working together, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go off." Because
they can't because when he leaves Krypton, he's a baby. She's already an adult. Because remember, Kara is older than Clark.
Yeah. No, but I mean like just in terms of an action scene, because her film will be a prequel, basically, right? Like it'll be after she leaves Krypton.
I have to assume so.
Okay.
I have to assume so.
So I think in some ways, like maybe there isn't a director, maybe there is, but even if there isn't one, James Gunn is the one bringing her into this universe. He will be the one establishing it. He will be the one casting it. But that's also probably why we haven't seen other people casted yet, is because they haven't gotten that far yet. I think it's the same thing. Like, we're not going to see Swamp Thing casting until what's the director doing that one? The Logan director,
James Mangold.
James Mangold, yeah. We're not going to see a Batman one till the script is fully done. But it sounds like there's rumors that are circulating that they're starting to look into that. So it just all comes down to it. But this is James Gunn's movie, and if he needs Kara in it, he's going to cast Kara, and he already knows that they're going to bring Kara to life in a spin-off film. So I agree with Matthew Vaughn to a certain extent, but I also don't in this one. It's kind of the same thing with the MCU as well, which the MCU is a little bit different. You cast, but also you don't need the director right away. I mean, at least in my mind, maybe it would help sometimes, because obviously look at Jon Favreau. He was the one that basically helped get Downey into there, and who knows without that. But that's also why you have a casting director, because James Gunn wasn't going to originally cast Chris Pratt, and the casting director called in, "I think you should look at this guy," and then he won him over. So
yeah, that's true. Now, I want to ask a question, because this week, Matthew Vaughn, he's talking about a lot of things, not just his movie, which is one of the reasons I'm very interested in the actual interviews. Would you like to see Matthew Vaughn direct anything in the DCU, and do you have a specific idea of what you'd like to see him direct?
Yeah. So personally, I've always wanted to see him direct one more Marvel movie, whether it was the next Wolverine or something of that. But DC wise, I mean, he would just kill it, anything. But even though it's a show, I would love to see him do Booster Gold. I think his style fucking fits Booster Gold so well. And I think the action would be cool. I also think he'd make a pretty damn good Flash movie if you wanted to have him do a Flash film.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Matthew Vaughn, I don't get the hate on him. Like, I enjoy 90% of his movies. So
I've enjoyed every single movie he's made to different degrees.
Yeah. So I mean, you could really slap him into any genre. I'm trying to think of like something else that I would love to see. Who's the
You
There's one
said
character
Flash. I
yeah.
had a great. I think he'd make a great fit for the Flash. We don't actually have an official like Flash movie announced for the DCU though. What we do have that I think would be an amazing fit for him, for his style, his storytelling sensibilities as a filmmaker, his the way he conveys violence and
Yeah.
brutality and even morality on screen. I think Matthew Vaughn directing a movie on The Authority would
Oh.
be amazing.
Wasn't he rumored for it? Wasn't that the rumor that he was doing
I
it?
I no idea.
Oh,
No
I thought
idea.
it
If he
was.
was, I don't know. If he wasn't, I don't know.
I was also gonna say if they ever do a film on the Spectre, he would be basically
Oh,
perfect
that's
for
cool.
that.
That's cool. I like that.
He would
Yeah.
be perfect for that. So
Yeah, that's
the
cool.
Authority though, yeah, take back what I said. That is because I finally read. I don't. Did I ever tell you I read the comic that James Gunn posted for it? I finally
I
read it.
I think you told me when you bought it. I don't know that you
That
told me you
was
read it. You had read it.
excellent. That was
Mhm.
excellent. It's sometimes like I'm a little confused on the characters just because it's kind of a middle part of it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really in for it. Yeah, I'm in for that, man.
Another thing that Matthew Vaughn has mentioned, he was talking about his movie, he went to talk about DC, and he went to talk about Marvel, and he specifically mentioned Deadpool 3, because we're all anticipating the trailer coming out next is it Sunday? Is the Super Bowl Sunday?
Sunday, yeah.
Okay. The trailer comes out next weekend on the Super Bowl, so watch out for Zach's channel for his reaction.
Your reaction too.
Well, I will be there. I will be there for sure because I won't have anywhere else to go. But he also talked about Marvel, about the trailer, and he specifically mentioned how this movie, Deadpool 3, will completely not only shift the entire MCU, but it will save it. Now, I want to ask you because full disclosure, I didn't take the time to go through the actual quote. I just read the headline and that small line everyone shared from the interview, but I didn't actually go into the interview itself. Did you go into the interview? And if you did, what were your thoughts about what he said, how he said it, what he means by it? And do you agree?
I did, but I don't remember the entire thing because it was like Tuesday when I read it. Do I agree? I don't know. I don't know because I need to see how the film turns out. I've said it. It's my most anticipated film of the year, but it's the one film I'm the most nervous about. And for multiple different reasons. And maybe that's just because of what. Yeah. I don't know what to expect. And maybe that's the best thing, and maybe it isn't. And honestly, I don't even think the trailer will really give me anything to expect. I think it'll be. I genuinely think this trailer is gonna be a fuck around trailer, like something that's like not really in the movie, if that makes sense. And then it'll show a bunch of clips or like sequences from the movie, and that'll be their way of preserving the secrets because you can sell the movie on stupidity of Deadpool. Have you seen the synopsis? Did you see the synopsis with the car
I've seen the
salesman
synopsis.
thing?
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you right now. The Super Bowl spot is going to be Deadpool selling cars. That's what it's going to be.
What if they actually make a proper what
Seriously.
would be a Supergirl, a Super Bowl commercial, but it's also the official trailer?
Yeah, no. I legit think this is what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hugh Jackman's going to show up to buy a car. And then he's like, we have a movie coming out. And then, boom. And then it kicks in, and you see a bunch of different things. And yeah, that's our first teaser.
Yeah, I can see
and it would instantly, the fact that most general going audiences who are watching the Super Bowl, their first thing of knowing that there's a new Deadpool film coming out and that Hugh Jackman's in it.
Yeah.
Which is going to be interesting because will the general going audience be like, but Logan was so perfect. Why are you bringing him back?
I don't think general audiences see it that way. General audiences, more than us, they're like, oh, he's back. Cool.
You'd be, I don't know. I use my work as like a thing. And a lot
I
of them
can tell you
not.
right now, if I showed my parents who saw Logan and loved Logan, I'll show them that, oh, he's coming back. Cool. They'll ask, oh, but didn't he die? But when I explain the multiverse shenanigans, they'll be like, oh, okay, cool.
Okay. Nice. Okay. Maybe. I guess we'll see.
I liked what he had to say about Deadpool. I struggle to like agree with him 100% because I don't know, number one, that the MCU needs saving, and number two, I don't know that they're designing Deadpool to be that kind of movie. Does it have the potential? Maybe it could save the MCU, but I don't know that it. I don't know that it will. I don't know that it's that the movie is striving to do that. I think it'd be very interesting if it changes, if it brings a lot of stuff to the table where you're like, oh shit, now we have all these new toys on the sandbox. What are the implications of these toys on the sandbox? You know? So I think they're interesting comments. I think we would be amiss to not keep our eyes on it, or at least keep that concept in mind. But I don't know that it's something that I fully buy into. All right, everyone. And with that out of the way, make sure you let us know your thoughts on the casting of Supergirl, on Argyle, Matthew Vaughn's comments on Supergirl, on casting, on the Deadpool movie, on superhero movies in general, anything and everything down there. And now we're going to move on to your questions. But before we go to the questions on the community tab, we have a super chat from our good supporter, Tony Movie Chappie. He says, I went to MegaCon yesterday and I got to meet Tom King. He signed my Woman of Tomorrow graphic novel, but sadly, he didn't tell anything about Woman of Tomorrow or that he read it, though. That he read The Woman of Tomorrow. That's probably because it's not written. I highly doubt that movie is written yet. And he probably wouldn't know anything about it, honestly. But that is awesome. That is one of the greatest comic book artists of this generation, at the very least. If you want to keep reading Tom King, go read The Visions, his run with the character of Vision, which WandaVision was heavily inspired by. So go read that. And I'm glad you got to meet him. I'm sure he's an awesome guy. I've never had the pleasure, but I would love to. All right, Zach, what we got in the community tab?
All right. Where'd it go? There we go. Let me refresh, just make sure I grabbed everyone's.
No worries.
Hey, if you didn't submit it by now, you out. You shit out of luck, guys. Lady Aaron, well, yesterday we lost the incredible, talented Carl Weathers, who had many incredible roles, especially with our beloved Apollo Creed. What was your favorite performance, Carl Weathers, in your favorite movie? I mean, for me, it's tough not to say Predator, because that's what I grew up on mostly, was him and Arnold in that movie. But of course, Rocky, the whole Rocky series, up until
we gotta recreate that handshake 4. Too.
Yeah. But lately, I mean, I loved what he was doing in Mandalorian. I loved his episodes he directed. And personally, for me, I think it's an incredibly sad loss, specifically now.
Yeah.
Because you knew he was going to be in the movie. You knew he was going to be in the movie. So,
it's Apollo Creed for me, easy. Particularly because the first Rocky I watched multiple times. Before I ever watched 1 and 2 was Rocky 3. That was my first Rocky. Then I watched Rocky 4 a ton of times, where Apollo Creed passes away. And then you have a franchise like Creed. That's always going to be the role of a lifetime, the way I see it. But I do love him in Predator. That handshake is epic. He's great in The Mandalorian. He's really fun as Combat Carl. In Toy Story 4, and that's one of the few instances you'll hear me talk good things about Toy Story 4. And Zach doesn't like it, but yeah. R.I.P. to Carl Weathers. He wasn't young anymore, but it does feel slightly too soon to lose him.
Yeah, I felt like he got another 10 years in his life.
Yeah,
honestly, I wish we would have.
Same here. And he looks good, man. 76, he looked fucking good. Yeah.
Someone posted, I guess they would always see him at his gym in LA.
Of course.
Of him working out. And they said he would just get on the bike and pedal, and he'd read the newspaper and then get off. That was it. And go home. So.
That's how you do it. All right. Lydia Aaron says, thoughts on Brad Pitt starring in Quentin Tarantino's final movie? I think it's awesome. I don't think... I had a conversation with someone that said, they were expecting sort of a more unconventional choice, and I don't know why. Because you look at their history of working together, banger after banger after banger. They clearly work very well together. They like working with each other. If I'm
He
going
won an
to go,
Oscar from his last movie with
they
them.
and one of their collaborations, Brad Pitt won an Oscar, and Tarantino won an Oscar in that collaboration. In both of them, actually, yeah. Uh, so if I like working with someone so much that I won an Oscar with him, and I want to make this next thing my final movie, I'm going to count on that person. Like honestly, I don't even know why he wasted time like searching and considering. No, I'm gonna go with this person that put both our names in the spotlight during
Yeah.
award season.
Like we can fully
So
expect
I
Samuel
think
L.
it makes
Jackson
sense.
will also probably be in this one too.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. But what are your thoughts? Do you like the Brad Pitt casting? Were you
Uh,
wishing for someone else?
yeah, I'd like for this final movie to have some new names as well that he's never worked with, because it's his final movie, which is bullshit. He'll make another one.
Yeah, it's not his final movie, but the way he sees it, it is.
Yeah, so which I think in terms for him, his final movie it's a movie that, oh, I'm writing and directing. Or maybe the next one is I'm only directing it. I didn't write the script, or vice versa. I wrote the script, I'm not directing this one. So
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what we're gonna see from Tarantino down the road. But yeah, great. I loved him in the last two outings that he did with them. And I'm excited to see what Tarantino does next. The Movie Critic is a great title, and I'm very excited to see. Who else is in the movie? Have they said who else is in it?
No, I think only Brad Pitt so far that we know. I'm sure there are rumors out there, but that we know so far, it's only Brad Pitt.
Paul Walter Hauser.
Oh, is he? Okay,
Dude,
interesting. See, he's never worked with him before.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one. So I wonder who else.
That's fun.
Okay.
All right, what's next?
Based on what we saw, how much Argyle got in its Thursday preview screen, is there a chance that we could possibly witness one of the biggest box office bombs? I'm just going to say this right now. I'm not going to finish the question because it's just box office bomb. This movie was never going to make its money back. The reason Apple gave it $200 million is because they want money. They want movies for their service. But what Apple is smart in doing is that they are putting them in theaters first to show theater companies that they are serious about distributing, that they're not a Netflix, they're not an Amazon. They are serious about this. That is why they keep putting these movies out. Killers of the Flower Moon did not make its money back. I don't even think Napoleon did. None of their movies have made their money back. But it's starting to put it into the general going audience. Oh, these movies don't go directly on streaming. If I want to go and see one of their movies, I have to go to theaters to see it. And, Argyle for me is going to be one of those movies that when it finally goes on streaming, everyone who has Apple, because I'm telling you right now, when Killers goes on there, oh, it's gonna pop.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be a reason people finally get the Apple TV if they don't have it anymore. So I don't really care about the box office for Argyle. If it even hits number one for the weekend, I think that's like actually a big success personally. But yeah, and also there was only one trailer for the movie. Everyone saw the same fucking trailer. Yeah. So there wasn't really a lot of marketing for the film. $200 million, yeah, it's a lot. And yeah, you can say it's a box office bomb, but it was made for streaming. Like that's why the movie was created.
And it shouldn't, because it looks great on the big screen.
Yeah,
I would have hated to watch this for the first time on my small screen. So I'm glad it's
I agree.
Theaters. All right. Speaking of Matthew Vaughn, thoughts on there being a musical movie possibly coming with Matthew Vaughn directing and the script being written by Damien Chazelle? I don't know about this.
Did you not see this? Oh, you didn't see this? I didn't send you this?
I don't think so.
Yeah, it leaked that this was being made.
I'm in. I love Matthew Vaughn as a director, as we've established on the show. Damien Chazelle is one of my favorite filmmakers of all time. And I would like to remind everyone I have met Damien Chazelle ever so briefly. So it's a combo made in heaven. I'm very curious to see what a musical directed by Matthew Vaughn looks like. Though there are some elements of a musical in Stardust, but it is not a musical per se. But I'm interested. Like I said, I've liked everything Matthew Vaughn has done up to this day. So I'm in. Zach?
Yep. No, I agree. The second I read this, I was like, yeah, man, I'll watch that.
All right, what's next?
Lady Aaron, thoughts on Catherine O'Hara being cast in The Last of Us season 2? Great actress, great stuff. She's probably going to play the Sephiroth's leader, is my opinion.
Yeah,
That would be my guess. Sure. So, I don't really have much more to say on that.
I'm with it too. She's great in Argyle. I'm sure she's great in other things that I'm completely blanking on that she's in, but keep on coming with the castings for actually officially cast Jeffrey Wright in the same role he played in the game. That's what we all want to see, man. That's what we all want to see.
I'm surprised that nothing like Owen, Manny, Nora, like if those have been cast yet. There might be
my guess. Here's my guess. They're probably casting them like together and having chemistry reads. Because you not only need to have a great dynamic, but they all need to work with Caitlin Dever.
Yeah. Or Caitlin Dever, yeah.
But then even without her, even if she's not with him, they have to all like work well with one another. And it's a semi-big group of people. So
yeah, and I mean, you have to imagine that's probably what they did with Dina, Jesse, and Bella Ramsey's character, Ellie. So
yeah. Lady Aaron, Ren and Zach, are you guys excited for the meeting of a lifetime to finally happen? And is your anticipation seeing each other in person getting higher? Yes. That's why we always keep bringing it up, because it's less than a week at this point. And we're very excited. I'm very nervous because it's my first time flying overseas, going to this completely new place. These two completely new places. But I'm excited. Nervous, but excited. Zach?
I'm not nervous. I'm not nervous.
Yeah, you're not traveling, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Like, I'm not nervous to meet you. I'm not like...
Yeah, I'm not nervous to meet you either.
I'm nervous that's the easy stuff. The easy stuff is, do we still like each other after the 4 days?
Yeah, exactly.
Which, like, we will. Like,
is the show canceled? And by the way, I'm glad you brought that up, because the Saturday after that, we're not going to be able to have a show because I'm still going to be in California. Are you still going to be on your honeymoon?
I probably
will, yeah. So the week after, there's no show, but I want you all to rest assured that's already part of the plan. It's not that we stopped liking each other.
It should be the week after. Once we come back.
Yeah, exactly. We come back.
No, wait. I might have a screening that day. We'll figure it out. I don't remember if I do or not. Okay. I think I'm getting my days mixed up. I think so.
Never mind.
I don't remember.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I promise we're not going to break up.
What's next?
Lady Aaron, thoughts on the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 logo design reveal, and Jim Carrey will be returning. Awesome. Sonic Battle 2, fucking awesome. I can't wait to see that little girl die. That's going to be great.
Spoilers!
Does not everyone know? I don't know.
No.
I don't give a fuck.
The Sonic movies did not sell that much.
Okay.
If some people don't know what happens in The Last of Us Part 2, some people don't know what happens in Sonic Adventure.
Well, you know what, though? I'll tell you this. I don't think they're going to do it.
You don't think they're going to do it? You're crazy.
No. They're not giving Shadow a gun. They're too big of pussies now.
I'm not saying they're giving.
No, I know. But like, if they're not going to give him a gun, they're not going to go that far.
Oh, they are. They might not go in this movie. They might keep it for.
I'm going to ask you: Do we
Shadow
get
solo movie?
Do we get a? Yeah, I was about to say, do we get a spinoff?
Yes, 100%. It's only a matter of, is this like plot element part of this movie or part of the spinoff?
Did you play the game, the Shadow the Hedgehog game?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
Okay. That's the best one.
It's amazing. It's amazing. I love the logo. I think the logo is really cool. I don't know that if anyone remembers, but we discussed Jim Carrey's quote unquote retirement in this show, or maybe it was our previous podcast, but I said, I think he comes back for the third one and then he retires. I don't see him not being a part of the third one. And here he is. And everyone, by the way, I want to break a rumor here right now. There are these rumors that Hayden Christensen would be the voice of Shadow. Number one, that would be an awful choice. Number two, that is bullshit. That did not come from anywhere. That has no legitimate beginning, aside just attributed to a very reliable scooper, but the scooper himself never said anything. So the rumor of Hayden Christensen voicing Shadow, that comes out of nowhere, would be an awful choice. And everyone who was hearing that teaser and going, oh, that's Hayden Christensen's voice. No, it's not. It's Jim Carrey laughing. When did you hear Hayden Christensen laughing? When? Tell me, please, because he hasn't. That clearly sounds like Jim Carrey. You can clearly tell it's him, and they confirmed this.
You want John too, right? John Berthner?
Yes, I want John Bernthal, Keanu Reeves, Jason Momoa. Those are like 3 big choices I think would all be great. I had someone yesterday in the chat going, Benedict Cumberbatch would be interesting. And I'm like, that would be interesting. He's never going to do it. Never.
I don't know. He voiced the fucking Grinch, so.
He voiced the fucking... I don't even remember what he was, but in Penguins of Madagascar, the movie.
Can I tell you, why does Jason Statham's face pop up in my head when I think of...
Also had someone suggesting Jason Statham, but then someone said, Cockney Shadow, no thanks.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I just couldn't... I don't know, I can't.
Sonic, it's me, Shadow. I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason Statham. All right, what's next? Or am I reading the next question?
I can just read it. It's fine.
All right.
Thoughts on the first trailer for the new Megamind movie sequel and TV series that we got? If you've seen it, and that will be released on March 1st on Peacock. Well,
let me start with this one.
Go ahead.
I love the first Megamind so much. The first Megamind is spectacular. I watched this trailer. Already, like, we knew there was a TV show. The big surprise was there's another movie. It's direct to streaming, but anyway. And I didn't even mind that Will Ferrell is not coming back. I realized that immediately, but it didn't bother me because the voice now sounds pretty great. Even Tina Fey not coming back, I'm like, I would love for them to come back, but if they don't come back, that's fine. The animation for this looks so cheap. And I feel terrible saying that because I'm sure
it's not even made at DreamWorks. It's not even made at DreamWorks, yeah.
I'm sure the animators are killing themselves overnight. They could be working extra hours, and I would not be surprised. I can only imagine the grueling workflow that it takes to put a project like this out. So please don't get me wrong, but the animation looks extremely limited. It looks cheap. It doesn't look like... I watched this trailer. I'm like, I don't want to watch like 2 hours of that and then a 10 episode or whatever episode show with this visual.
Also, who's this for? Megamind's done. Like, it's been years. Like, kids are not going back to that movie. Like,
no.
Like, I don't know who this is for.
Like, the loyal fan base for this movie right now is our age, minus 2-3 years more.
But I'll be honest, I'm not gonna watch it. I don't care.
I'll check out the movie in hopes of being wrong, but I have no desire to check out the show. Also, there's a big plot point. It's the entire like pillars of the film that hold it up. Megamind is the only bad guy, and Metro Man is the only good guy. They both came from space. That is it. Titan in the original film is the only other superhero that ever showed up. And now there are all these villains that Megamind used to be friends with. It feels lazy. It feels like there was no effort put into this. It feels like every fan of Megamind likes Megamind more than the studio behind Megamind, which weirdly makes a lot of sense. But I'm not excited. I was heartbroken, honestly, watching that trailer. Do you want to add anything else?
I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch the trailer?
No, I didn't care. The second I started seeing people say how bad it was, I'm like, I did get excited though because I didn't know it was going to streaming. I was like, oh my god, I didn't know they were making this. We're getting a movie. And then the next thing I saw was streaming only on March 1st, and I'm like, man, it's gonna be ass.
Starting off March on a. I mean, they're not gonna go to theaters on March 1st because that's all Dune, baby.
Yeah, I've already bought like 3 tickets for that thing.
All right, we don't have tickets on sale yet for some reason.
Really? Yeah, we have one of the theaters that are doing IMAX 70mm, like Oppenheimer, like one of the only 12. So I wanted to buy them. So,
Lady Aaron, thoughts on the actual title we got for Beetlejuice 2? I'm gonna tell you what I put out on my tweet. The title is Beetlejuice, and I think that's stupid. It's a very stupid title, and I refuse to call it that. Obviously, I'll call it that in my review. but I can already feel the stupidity. I'm gonna give Beetlejuice a C minus or
But
whatever.
you know, if we get a third film, what it'll be called?
It's gonna be even more stupider. It's gonna be stupid.
Hopefully, it's good.
Yeah, I doubt it. What do you think of the title?
It's whatever, man. I don't care. I'm excited for the movie, somewhat, kinda. But
He's going back. I'm excited.
Tim Burton kind of just. I haven't really liked anything he's done. So
yeah, he's
been a while.
He's not quite Robert Rodriguez, where it feels like he's regressing through his career, but he's not someone that is whose movies.
I was one of the few people that really like Wednesday, so like I think a lot of people got that and they're like, Tim Burton's back, and I'm like, I watched Wednesday and I was like, no, he's not. Jenna Ortega is a star though.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how I came away from that show. So,
all right, what's next?
Lady Aaron, thoughts on what we got for the Silent Hill 2 remake, and thoughts on what we got in terms of Death Stranding 2. So this is all me. They had a PlayStation State of Play for new games coming out this year. Silent Hill 2, I'm not huge on the Silent Hill franchise, so I didn't really watch what they showed, but from what the general consensus is they're just doing the remakes like Resident Evil, which makes sense. There's money to be made there. You can't really play a lot of these games without forking out $400 or more and getting an old console, so it's fine. Death Stranding 2 is what got me excited. I didn't even watch the trailer. I just looked at clips or like little clips and then like pictures because I don't want to know much about it. If you can't tell behind me, I have the little baby right there from the game. So I am very excited for Death Stranding 2. A little sad that it's coming out next year. I was hoping it was going to be this year. So I'm curious to see if they have anything coming out this year because it doesn't really feel like anything's coming out in terms of gaming this year. But a little disappointed no one's asked about Suicide Squad because I got it. So you guys,
someone asked about it.
Oh, they did. Okay.
You're going to see the question eventually.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right. Lady Aaron, thoughts on the trailer we got for Guy Ritchie's new movie? Looks awesome. I'll be there. Like same. Halfway through the trailer, I was already, this is
same.
Like, and I'll tell you what, it just reminded me of when I went to my screening of Argyle. They played one trailer before the film. They usually do. It's not out of the question to do this at press screenings. Like they play one trailer from the same studio they play behind the movie you're watching at that moment. They play the trailer for the Fall Guy, man. And I don't know that I had already seen this trailer on the big screen. I don't think I did, but I was watching that trailer and I'm like, my top 10 of the year might end up with Hitman at number 1 and this at number 2.
Dude,
for all I know.
I will not be started looking into going to South by just to go see Fall Guy early because it's premiering.
Don't be shocked if I end up loving Fall Guy because that is exactly my kind of movie. The guy
I know someone who's seen it. I know someone who's seen
the Fall Guy.
Yeah, at a test screening. I know someone who's seen it. Big double up. Big thumbs.
Yes!
It's David Leitch, right? It's David Leitch for that one. Yeah, everyone I've talked to, I know 2 people that seen it. They both said hands down his best movie. Hands down his best movie. So, did you know it's based off a property, an IP?
So apparently there was
a TV
show in the 60s.
So I'm like telling my dad about the movie, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was a show I used to watch." I said, "Excuse me." So then I'm explaining. He goes, "Yes." He goes, "Yes. That's the show." He goes, "But every episode was different."
I didn't know that about like last week or something when I was listening to the John Campea show and they're talking about it and I'm like, remember the show from the 60s? And I'm like, wait a second, what show? What is going on?
Yeah, so the show apparently like every 3 episodes or something they would have a different story. So this is potential for a franchise because I mentioned what this movie was about and he goes, "Oh yeah, that was like a couple episodes."
Oh, okay. So this is directly a plot from the show.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting.
I guess it's the most famous plot from this show. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. What's next?
Lady Aaron, thoughts on Chris Rock directing and Leonardo DiCaprio producing an English language remake of Another Round? Do you think it's even necessary? No, because Another Round is very accessible. It's not a hard one to watch. But I also hate this. Not the fact that I don't like Chris Rock as a director. I liked Top 5. I thought he did a decent job directing that. Here's my thing. This film, and if you don't know Another Round's history behind it, where the director's wife and daughter died, that basically was the crux of
Did the wife also die? I thought it was only the daughter.
Nope, both of them died. I thought it was the daughter too, and then someone posted it was the wife, and then I looked into it. Okay. That whole, you can look up the whole behind the scenes and basically how that influenced the rest of the movie and the comedy bits of the movie. And it was basically his 4 friends who were making the film with him. We're just trying to make him laugh. Yeah. And the smartest thing about Another Round is that it is a very dark film in terms of its context and what these guys are trying to do, but it comes off very humorous in a non-in-your-face way. It's very, like, what's the word? It's nonchalant. It's realistic. Like, this feels like a real, very, very subtle. Like, I think when I watched it, I said, this is kind of like The Hangover, but in a very realistic and
if it was internalized.
Yes. And I'm not saying that they couldn't do that, but the second I read this, I'm like, no, like they're just gonna make it very much surface level, go for the humor. Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, Kevin James, like I just got grown-ups in my head. And I do not want that. Now, again, I could be wrong. This might be Chris Rock's favorite movie of all time. Might be one of DiCaprio's favorite movie. I just need more.
Even that doesn't fill me with confidence because his last favorite movie, or at least franchise, was Saw, and we all know what he did with that. I'm not excited for this because I didn't care for Top 5. I mean, at this point, I barely remember. I don't remember anything, but I remember watching it at the time because everyone was glowingly talking about it, and I watched it and instantly 2 minutes later, like, I don't know what happened to this movie because I didn't give a shit about anything. The question of is it necessary? I reject that question only because no movie ever is necessary. So good movie, bad movie, it doesn't matter. It's not necessary. But I'm not excited about this at all. Just go watch Another Round from 2020. It's a sensational film.
And while you're at it, afterwards, watch The Hunt.
Oh, The Hunt is so good. But The Hunt is even darker. The Hunt is just, well, that's fucking depressing. So yeah, especially
the original ending for that movie is fucking depressing.
Yeah. And even the ending we did get, it leaves you on ambiguity. And I know what I believe about the ending personally, but yeah. Lady Aaron, thoughts on the, wait, did you read the last one or did I?
I read it.
Okay. You read it. So, thoughts on the new trailer we got for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire? I didn't watch it because I've already seen the teaser. Zach?
I don't care. I don't know.
Do you not care about Ghostbusters?
I love the first Ghostbusters, and I fucking adored Afterlife. Afterlife. The first trailer just didn't. Which sucks because when this was announced, I was a little bit nervous that Reitman wasn't coming back as the director, but then they said, oh, the Monster House director is doing this. I was like, oh, okay, you sold me. And he says his influences is the cartoon show. I'm like, oh, I enjoyed the cartoon show. And I'm definitely seen those. My biggest thing with that first trailer was, why is the kids not the main characters? Yeah. Why? And then I'm just starting to get that glimmer from this one too, that the kids, it's more from Paul Rudd and the adults. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that'll be fun, but like McKenna Grace, it was McKenna Grace, right? Or was it what's the McKenna Grace? Yeah. She was incredible in Afterlife.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'll be there first day. I'm gonna watch it first day. But I can't say that I'm like over the moon excited for this. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
All right, what's next?
Thoughts on the trailer for Dev Patel's Monkey Man? Did we talk about this?
I
thought we did.
I think we got asked about it, but we didn't get to this question last week. But the trailer is great. It feels like Guy Ritchie directing a John Wick movie. I'm in. or rather, the John Wick guy is directing a Guy Ritchie movie.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I agree with you.
Aaron, thoughts on the first show we got for Despicable Me 4? It's fine. Like, I think it's fun to see Gru in this next phase of life where he's got a kid of his own with his wife. I'm just not as engaged with these characters that I want to necessarily be along in their adventure. It'd be one thing to like, and Gru eventually has a kid. Cool. Do I need to see that movie? No.
Oh, he's having a kid in this? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the trailer,
They have
so
a
I
kid.
wouldn't.
They have a kid,
Here's the thing.
And his name is Gru Jr., as they're clearly on the height of creativity.
I don't care. I don't know. I like the last Minions movie. It was fun. The airport scene was the best.
All right. It's your turn.
For my last question, what are some movies that are considered one and done for you and that you love, which you never want to see a sequel for those movies?
So many.
Yeah.
I mean,
Schindler's
there
List. I don't know.
There are two ways. There are two easy ways of answering this question. One, just name bad movies that you don't ever want to see again, and therefore you don't want sequels to. Or let's just name great movies that did have sequels but should have remained one and done. But then there are movies that, there's just so many to name. But it'd be easier if you had asked the opposite, which is movies that are one and done but should have had sequels. So yeah. I mean, American Fiction shouldn't have a sequel. There's an example. I don't know.
Yeah, Poor Things should have a sequel.
You think?
Yeah, I just want more Bella Baxter.
All right.
What happens when she has a kid?
I don't know. Is a fully grown woman's brain born with a baby's body? That would be
probably. No, probably, and that's why I want to see this.
Okay.
I want to see this. So.
Andrew Seif, what are your thoughts on the latest Thunderbolts casting announcements, including Lewis Pullman replacing Steven Yeun as Sentry and
fast,
Geraldine?
Before I forget,
Geraldine Vishwanathan, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, replacing Ayo Edebiri in a role rumored to be Val's assistant. Cool. I like all of these actors. Lewis Pullman is actually a great choice for Sentry, I feel. Again, I must remind everyone, I'm not the biggest fan of Sentry. I'm not as interested in Sentry as everyone else on the internet seems to be, because I've read Sentry in the comics. I know the character. I'm just saying I'm not the biggest fan. I'm interested to see how they adapt into the MCU, but I'm not like, my God, they're bringing Sentry into live action. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
The role of Val's assistant is exactly that. It's a minor role. I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, good, because it would be a waste of Ayo Edebiri." Well, is it not a waste of Geraldine Vishwanathan?
Yeah,
she's amazing.
I agree too. Great. Yeah, she's awesome. She's very underrated in that rom-com with Zachary Montgomery.
Oh yeah, I remember that. She's also very good in Blockers.
Oh, she's fucking great in Blockers.
She's John Cena's daughter in that movie.
Yeah, but then again, the way that I view it is Val's assistant is probably a humor thing, and she's going to be able to do that and play off very well.
100%.
Lewis Pullman, though, is really good pick for this. Like, if you can't get Steven Yeun, I'm open with Sentry, and I'll be honest, I've never read anything on Sentry until recently. Like, I haven't even read comics. I've just been reading, like, who he is. Dude, he's a fucking cool-ass character. I think he's a little OP, in my opinion. Like, everything I've kind of read, but, like...
He is boringly OP.
Yeah. But I like the Void. I like the whole concept of how he was a drug addict. Like, I'm very curious. I think Lewis Pullman can pull that off. So I'm very fascinated with this and to see how they intersect him into the entire movie. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to say the least.
All right, what's next?
David Scott. Ren Zach, will you get a chance to play the new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? So are you even going to play this eventually when it goes down in price or no?
I don't see myself doing that. No, sir.
Okay. So
Actually, I'll play it next week a little bit if we have time.
Yeah,
that's the only way.
So let me put it this way. I've been very for this game ever since it's been announced. Which is funny because like when I don't know how much have you seen. I don't want to get into spoilers. Like
I have seen.
Do you know the like basically you get the concept, like
the premise? Yeah, I know the
yeah.
premise.
See,
I've seen quite a
I
few
don't think
videos of
like
gameplay.
when I
I've
saw
seen 2 of the characters die.
Yeah, when I see kill the Justice League, that's the first thing I thought is, okay, that's who we have to kill. I like that idea. I think that's cool. It's different. Now, I have not, I'll be honest, full disclosure, I played 3 hours. I still have not gotten to any of that. So I don't know how it's played off. I don't know the scenes. I don't know how they play off in context. And, leading in, knowing this was going to happen, part of me was like, maybe you should have just done this as an Elseworlds and said Arkham was a different world. This was an Elseworld, because then you don't have to go against this fan base. But the way I'm playing this game is that it is an Elseworld. It's an Elseworld where the Batman did come back. He actually did fake his death, and he's in this world, and now Brainiac took over and stuff like that. So that's the way I'm viewing it in my head.
And he's gonna die again.
Yeah. It's fun. I cannot deny it is a blast. Again, I'm only 3 hours in. I could find the game being repetitive and things later on, but I am one of those people that likes loot and shoot games, or like loot and shooters like Diablo. I played the shit out of that. Go to a dungeon, kill everything, get loot, get better. And I like those. I don't really play them for story, but they're one of those games that I can pop in at any time. I don't have to pay attention to, and I can play. And when I heard Suicide Squad was going to be like that, specifically after you beat the story, I love that because it's fun to roam around Metropolis taken over by Brainiac. The combat is awesome. I will say it is really hard to choose who to play as. I find myself switching back and forth between everyone. I've mostly played as King Shark because I like how heavier he hits and how he moves. But Deadshot's cool. How he shoots around on the jetpack. Captain Boomerang's awesome. Harley Quinn. I don't like the grapple, but I really like how she plays around. I think she's fun. I like her revolver. But my favorite thing so far is them. Their humor is fucking hilarious. And they don't say this a lot, but the attention to detail in their face, like just the facial animation and some of the reactions they make to one another, is the best part about the game. So I am really enjoying it. I can see where the faults are going to be. But it really all comes down to, because they did say that they will be supporting this game next month. Joker comes out, an Elseworlds Joker. This is why I'm saying it's an Elseworlds game. Joker. And that's cool. And then apparently Mr. Freeze will eventually be in the game, and Deathstroke. And depending on how those add-ons and things are, that will be the selling point of what this game is. But right now, it's already better than the Avengers game. It's a heads up. It's way better than that.
I mean, how low is that bar? But so you've only played 3 hours. Do you know who the Justice League is? Like,
yes,
do you know every member?
I have seen. So
it's Batman, Superman, member. Flash, Green Lantern,
Wonder Woman.
So only 5?
Superman, Green Lantern, Flash, Batman, Wonder Woman. Yes, there's only 5.
Okay.
You go to the Hall of Justice.
Yeah, I've seen
very
those
early on. So then you see, and there's the first introduction. Let me just say this right now. I see why Kevin Conroy signed on for this, to play an evil Batman. Dude, he is so good as that evil Batman. And there's a lot of cool tidbits. While you're running around the city, if you look around, Batman's stalking you the entire time.
Oh, okay.
So, and you can sometimes hear him because you have you wire into their comms so you can hear him talking shit about you. And and then the first time you see him, you go to a Batman museum.
Oh, okay.
And it's the entire layout of the Arkham trilogy. So you're going through it. It's like all these cardboard cutouts trying to avoid Batman. And he's using all the skills that he would have used against when you were playing him in Arkham. The gel. You see the gel on the ground that knocks you out. He's coming down and just knocking you out. The same sound. It's very well done. I can get the poor taste that it puts in people's mouths. But I think this comes from a place of heart, and I think they really wanted to do something different. and this is definitely different. Live service obviously does not work for everybody, and I completely understand it. Again, time will tell. Yeah, and usually I'm usually not that one, and I'm not planning to play this with like people. I think my sister's gonna end up getting it so we can fuck around in the world and play it. But it is fun. Maybe it gets repetitive, but I like what I'm playing so far. It's Borderlands with Suicide Squad characters, and that's cool to me. So I like it.
Andrew Seif, Universal Orlando announced their lands for the upcoming expansion, which will include Celestial Park, Super Nintendo World, Dark Universe, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, and How to Train a Dragon, Isle of Berk. What are your thoughts on these lands, and do you plan to visit it at some point? I think it looks very good from the little bit that I saw from the pictures. Do I plan on visiting? Maybe. If I can ever afford it. But right now, it's not like a concrete part of the plan, per se. But I would love to. I'm very envious you guys get all this shit. So hopefully a European Universal Park opens soon. Zach?
Next time you come out here, we'll just have to meet in Florida.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds cool
to me.
I've never been to Universal Studios, so not even California. So I think I did as a kid, but that doesn't really count when you're 2 and don't remember anything. So, yeah, dude, like I've said it before, I think on this podcast, if I wasn't talking movies, TV, and games on YouTube, I'd be talking Disney park shit. I am obsessed with the Disney parks. I love the Disney parks. I know every little thing about them, all the little Easter eggs, the history. I don't know much about Universal, but I will say lately they've been cranking out awesome shit. They're making a Donkey Kong roller coaster in Tokyo. And have you seen what it's going to be like?
No, dude, this is the first time.
Okay, have you ever played Donkey Kong, like back in the day, the country?
I don't think so, but I have seen enough of it. Like,
do you remember when you're in the barrel and it's like going on the mine cart? Okay, you know how it jumps over?
Yeah,
like they did that on the roller coaster. They figured out a way to detach it because they have a bar underneath it that's the actual track.
That is so fucking dangerous,
dude. It is the coolest thing that I've ever seen.
That is cool, but it is so fucking. How do you even get the insurance, the clearance for that?
I don't. It's Japan. Maybe that's how. I don't know.
True.
But if I can find it, I'll send you like the concept for it. So I'm really curious to see how it executes because it's built. They just haven't it's not done yet. But I was like, that's a really cool. Because I remember Disney was supposed to try and do that with a Spider-Man roller coaster years ago, and I think the insurance was the problem, so they ended up axing it. So, but yeah.
All right, what's next? Next one is yours.
Damian Scott, what are your expectations for Superman Legacy with so many characters introduced in the one movie that so many hated? And Batman v Superman. It's all context. It's all context. Some of these characters might be not the biggest things to have. And honestly, I don't think Batman v Superman's issue for most people were so many characters introduced. I think it was a lot of other things. So I think we all have to remember, you can have a lot of characters. Look at Guardians. Guardians has so many characters in it, especially 3. Like when you look at the entire cast of it, they have so many, and that film works. So Civil War, another film that works. And it still is a Captain America movie. So I think it's because we hear, a Green Lantern is in here, a Hot Girl's in here. We hear all that, and that's fine. But why don't we just wait and see the context of it? You can't hate something until you actually see it.
Yeah, like you said, Batman v Superman wasn't hated or disliked for having too many characters. Superman Legacy right now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 name characters. And not all of them are going to be main characters. I'm going to give you an example of a movie. So 12 characters, name characters in Superman Legacy, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. And I could keep going for like 20 more. So let's assume 50, 40, if you want to cut it short. 40 name characters, name actors in a movie. Do you want to guess what movie that is? It's the current best contender for Best Picture. It's Oppenheimer. It has 40 to 50 name actors in named roles. So Superman Legacy, it's doing just fine. Don't worry. For all the reasons we may have to be concerned about Superman Legacy, these 12 announced cast actors in it, they're not going to be the issue. Don't worry. All right. Nathan Madigan, thoughts on the trailer for Longlegs? Malcolm Monroe playing an FBI agent hunting down a serial killer played by Nicolas Cage. So description alone, I'm in. I'll be there day one. As soon as I can get tickets, I will get tickets. The trailer didn't do much for me. Now, it didn't take my excitement away, but some interesting imagery, some interesting atmosphere here and there. It kept my enthusiasm, my interest just about where it was. As a trailer, it just didn't do much for me, but I'm very interested in the movie. The trailer did not take that away. All right, Zach, what about you? Did you see the trailer? Are you interested in the movie?
I didn't watch the trailer. Don't want to see anything. Just want to watch the movie. I love Micah. I love Nicolas Cage, and it's a neon film, so I know it'd be fucking weird. So,
all right, what's next?
Damian Scott, why is Madam Web getting already hate? I'll just answer this for the both of us because it looks like fucking shit. It looks like
shit.
Yep.
I missed the fucking.
Damn it.
I almost had it.
Usually it's the opposite, but
yeah, it's true. It's true. I swear the most. All right. But yeah, it looks.
You see, this is why we're gonna get along so well because I swear a ton, and my fiance thinks I swear too much. So,
whenever you cannot swear during the weekend, you just point at me, and I'll give out a swear for you.
We'll play the game. Fuck. You just say fuck as loud as possible until someone looks at you weird.
Yeah. Matthew Vaughn, Nathan Madigan. Matthew Vaughn made recent comments regarding Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds coming into. We talked about this. Jigo EP, on the topic of Mr. and Mrs. Smith, have you guys watched Blue Eye Samurai on Netflix? So good, might be up your alley, and Maya Erskine voices the main character.
I need to watch it.
I haven't watched it. I certainly have interest, but I didn't know Maya Erskine.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know either. Who Maya Erskine is. I don't know.
I didn't know her until Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think I've ever seen her in
that show is so great.
Well, yeah.
She got famous off Pen 15, that Hulu
Penis.
show.
You mean Penis?
Yes.
Yeah. Which it sounds bad to say someone got famous off of Penis. So, exceptionally, I refuse to call this show Pen 15 because we all know what the show is actually called. But in that specific phrase, I don't want to sully Maya Erskine's name and say she got famous off of Penis. She got famous off of a show. I don't know how good or how bad it is, called Pen 15. All right, Zach, what's next?
G. Colby, I know you guys are in the minority on Argyle. I think you guys and Stuckman and Sean Chan are like the only reviewers I've seen who liked it. Anyone who didn't like it's crazy. But ever since the reception to Kingsman the Golden Circle,
we are right.
Ever since the reception to Kingsman the Golden Circle and onward, do you think maybe Matthew Vaughn should just get out of his Kingsman phase or stop doing spy films, do something different, as it's starting to grow stale for a lot of people? So here's what I would say. I think you're fucking
keep going,
crazy,
man.
Yeah, I'm all for it, man. Yeah, please keep making more.
More of this. And I'll tell you what. Sorry, I liked Argyle more than the Golden Circle, which I really like, and Kingsman, which I do really like. Argyle is better than both of them.
I think I still like Golden Circle, just because I love Eggsy and Harry's relationship so much. But let me say this: my sister is very picky when it comes down to movies. She's very picky. She gave an Argyle a 5 out of 5. She thought it was one of the most fun she's had at the theater. And honestly, I'll say this. I had so much fun watching it with her because we bonded over this movie. Every time a twist happened, we would look over at each other and fucking laugh our asses off. It was for a good reason. But it was so much fun.
Twist.
Yeah, dude. And that was fucking hilarious. Again, the film is way too long. It has its issues, but it's so good. it's so like I honestly, if I had time, I would have gone and seen it again this weekend. I genuinely would have.
Did you end up seeing Anyone But You?
No,
Okay.
I've really been waiting for it to just go to streaming at this point because I'm not going to cover it, and
Mhm.
yeah.
Anyone But You has a great needle drop. Argyle has one of my favorite
Which
needle
one?
drops.
Which one?
The smoke gun show.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I have never cared for this song. On the
Same.
surface, when you say, "Oh, we're gonna have this scene and we're gonna put this song in the scene," I'm like, that doesn't fit. And yet they do it in Argyle. And it's like, this is the greatest resurgence
Dude,
of an artist who has
yeah.
not been talked about since this song came out. And look at them now.
When the song came on, I was like, okay. And then it started playing. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool.
Yeah. When the song started playing, I'm like, is that this person? Like,
Yeah.
I haven't heard of this music artist in over a decade. In like 15 years at this point. No exaggeration.
I wanted to ask you, what genre of film would you like to see Matthew Vaughn do?
Well, you got me very curious about him directing a musical now, because what does that look like?
I have to imagine it's action musical. I just instantly...
Yeah.
And that's the reason Damien's not doing it.
Yeah, true. Though I'd love to see a Damien Chazelle action movie. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be musical. Now, I'd probably think of something else if that wasn't happening, but you just put that into my head, so it's got to be that.
For me, I'd like to see a fantasy film.
Stardust, man. Stardust.
No. Like, I know he's done that. I don't know. Like, maybe I just haven't seen Stardust. Maybe I don't really remember it. Now I'm trying to think.
Go rewatch Stardust, baby.
Yeah,
go rewatch Stardust.
I might need to.
All right. Jigoy P, I know you guys talk about fan service and about how you use the term "I'm a fan service" me. But I rewatched that recent Ghostbusters trailer and it looked like it's going to continue the same issue with Afterlife, where nostalgia distracts from the movie focus on developing these characters and doing something fresh. I disagree. That's what Afterlife did, because I never cared for Ghostbusters before Afterlife. What would you use as an example of good fan service and bad fan service? Good fan service: Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War,
No Way Home, the 3.
No Way Home. Bad fan service. Good question. I don't know. I'm not remembering any because.
I have one. There. A lot. Star Wars does it a lot. Sometimes in good.
The Rise of Skywalker
and
is terrible
sometimes
fan service.
Really bad. I will say this. I thought Ahsoka was going to be, and I'll say this, favorite Star Wars character, love Ahsoka, love the Rebels characters. I went into that show thinking, it's going to be cameo. Fuck, man. When they used cameos, that was great. The whole Anakin stuff was brilliant. So, but bad fan service. It kind of just depends. I mean,
Rise of Skywalker, Book of Boba Fett.
Talking about Ghostbusters, the girl version with the actors coming back, that was bad. It was bad for other reasons too, but I didn't hate that movie, honestly, but I know a lot of people.
All right, I found a list. Let's see if we agree. Why am I not seeing? Okay, never mind. I didn't find a list. Oh no, hang on. Solo: A Star Wars Story. Disagree. Jurassic World. I would raise you a Jurassic World Dominion. That's for sure. Terminator: Dark Fate. No way. No. Spider-Man 3 was ruined by a lot of things. Fan service wasn't one of them, because if anything, they pissed off the fans. They didn't service them. Fantastic Beasts, The Crimes of Grindelwald. A little bit. I wouldn't say it's the biggest offender of that. Superman Returns, great example. Alien Covenant, no. of all the problems that movie has, and I do really like Alien Covenant, fan service isn't one of them. Spectre, I can see that. I agree. Star Trek Into Darkness, I disagree. I actually think Star Trek, great movie, Star Trek Beyond, that has more fan service than Into Darkness ever did. And the Hobbit trilogy, I don't know enough about the books to just say, that it is riddled with fan service. I just don't know enough to recognize the fan service if there is any.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's next?
One more with good. Doctor Sleep. Doctor Sleep.
Oh, yes. I agree. You want to know? I'm not going to give you a movie, but I'm going to give you not a franchise, but a studio that does great fan service. Pixar.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
Best
what's next?
Studio out there. I watched Screen Crush's video about No Way Home not holding up at home. Mostly disagree, though. I made some valid points, minus Peter being somehow selfish for helping the villains and his friends getting in. To MIT, what are your films you really liked at first but didn't hold up on rewatch?
Do I have any of those?
But I haven't rewatched it. I just like it less the more I think about it. Ren, you know which film gets better over time, though?
Which film does get better over time?
Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, yes. I agree.
I'm so happy.
You know what?
Out of any film you and me could disagree on or agree on, that's the one.
That's the movie we're going to watch next weekend. We could watch anything. We're going to watch Love and Thunder.
That's actually next week's topic. We're just going to do a live commentary.
Why Thor: Love and Thunder is great. And we're going to be in the same room, so it's going to be the most professional show yet. And
it's just going to be us bagging on Cody because he doesn't like that movie.
Yes, off screen. You know what? Ever so slightly, but when I first watched Multiverse of Madness, I'm like, I love this. Rewatching, I really like it. I think it's a good movie. I really enjoy it. I don't think it's amazing and I'm in love with not that. Thor: Love and Thunder, that has remained, but not Multiverse of Madness.
You know what's funny? Multiverse of Madness, I actually like a little bit more on rewatch. Quantumania, though, the more I think about that, the less I like it. Fuck that.
Quantumania held up just in the same place that it was for me when I first watched it. All right. Music question. Do you guys think a depressing song can... I know why you're asking this. I saw you reposting liking what I reposted on TikTok. Do you guys think a depressing song can help you uplift the listener? And what's your favorite sad song? For example, Blink-182's Adam's song is about depression. I also love Korn's Falling Away From Me. Yes, absolutely. A sad song can be a comfort song. I'm currently listening to what's that song called? No, I can't find it. Is it in this playlist? No. I can't find the song I was listening to. But yeah, there are many sad songs that can be great to uplift you. There are many happy songs that can be great to put you down inadvertently. So, yeah. All right. Zach, what about you? Do you have any of those?
Not off the top of my head. I had to start going through playlists.
Right.
So
before you go into your question, we have another super chat from Luis Feliciano, great friend of the show. Thank you so much, Luis. Reports are indicated that Tarantino's final film could be somewhat of a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. If true, what are your thoughts? I haven't seen those reports, and I have heard nothing legitimate about that. I would say right now, at least, don't believe it. Because I personally don't know where those are coming from, and the fact that he cast Brad Pitt as the movie critic, I don't know.
Is he though?
That would be.
Is he playing the movie critic? I thought he was just casting in the movie.
No, he's the main guy. He's being cast as the lead. That's what's been said.
I think it's Paul Walter Hauser. Personally, I actually think it's Paul.
Do you think then that
I genuinely?
Paul Walter Hauser is the film critic? And then
I think
Cliff
so.
Booth is the actor?
I don't think it's Cliff Booth again, though.
Okay.
I don't. I could see.
Don't think it's a sequel.
I would love to see Brad Pitt play his editor, like the editor in chief of whatever. Like, get him. Like, you ever see Burn After Reading?
Yeah.
I want him playing that character again, like that kind of tone, but in like edit. Yeah. I fucking love that movie. I love that movie. It's a very underrated movie.
I don't like the ending. I've never liked.
I didn't like the ending either. Yeah, I didn't like it either.
But it's a good movie. All right, your turn.
G. Colby, thoughts on the Netflix reel, their new films and shows that got that are coming up this year, and what's your most anticipated? Almost none of them. So, I like the one that with Taron Egerton and Jason Bateman sounds good. That's the only one that caught me.
Oh yeah, the Try Hard.
Yeah, and apparently that one is good. That's what I heard. Yeah, apparently.
Okay, so. Interesting. All right. Penultimate question. The mini since Scott. Speaking of Sonic, have you seen this new trailer called Sonic X Shadow? Basically, a new game of Sonic Generations.
Yes,
I have not seen this.
I have, but I was watching a video. Shout out to Jake Valladino. He was talking about this, and he's like, they're pussies. They're not gonna give Shadow a gun. That's all we want. We just want Shadow to have a gun in that game. That's all
he's gonna have a gun that shoots lasers, not bullets.
Sega will never go back to those days. I want to remaster that game.
True.
That's like printing money, man.
Can you imagine?
Dude, you could imagine Sonic Heroes, the Sonic Battle, and that. And I'd never buy a Sonic game first day now. I would buy those first day. All of those. So
true. All right, last question.
Thoughts on the cast of the live action Avatar The Last Airbender series, talking about the changes from the animated series, like Sokka's sexism. I don't know too much about all of the changes. I only see the one that I tweeted about the other day where there's not going to be a lot of side adventures. And I didn't expect there to be. I really didn't. But it all is in context. And what I will say is I have not read all the articles, but my friend our friend, Real James, who's very, very, very big into Avatar, you should go watch his content. And Leo's been covering it too, right? Correct?
Mm-hmm.
So they are going more deeper into these. And when I talk to some of my friends who are also super into this, something to kind of keep in mind is we got to read the whole article, guys. Because that whole thing that everyone was complaining about Aang, then they went into like detail after that, explaining how they wanted to keep the essence of Aang still. But no one's talking about that. So I'm so tired of fucking Twitter, and I'm tired of I'm just broken. I'm so tired of every fucking franchise having an issue. Something everyone has to hate. It's so fucking annoying. Let's just watch it. And if it sucks, then cool. It sucks. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Why can't we just watch this for what it is? Because now majority of people are only hearing the bad press, the general going audiences, because that's all they're seeing. Yeah. And now they're going to watch this and be like, yeah, that is true. They're missing that. It didn't need to be a 1-for-1 adaptation. It really did not. It needs to be it shouldn't. It needs to stand on its own feet. And if you don't like that, just fucking rewatch the cartoon then. You also
Which is also on Netflix.
Yeah, and Paramount Plus if you don't have Netflix for some reason. I'm rewatching it right now. It's so great. I love this show. I need to start rewatching it. Yeah, dude, it's so
I'll have 12 hours to fucking watch as many episodes as I can. No, I'm gonna sleep because that way it just flies by.
Yeah. But in terms of that, like, let's just calm down. Again, I'm not saying the show's gonna be good. It could be ass. It could be awful. But we have to see it first. I thought One Piece was gonna be fucking awful. And it was great. Prove me wrong on this. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't. I don't know. Everything looks good so far about it, though. So, like, what else is there to say? That's my rant. I'm done. TED Talk over.
I personally haven't read anything specific. I read the headlines about Aang. I read the headlines about Katara. I read the article on Sokka. And I have a lot of problems with Sokka because if you understand the character of Sokka in the animated series, he's not sexist.
No, he's not.
He's a young man who was left behind by his father, the former chief of the village, to protect everyone. He was deemed at, 12 years old? A child. As the man in the village, you have to protect everyone. You have to protect your grandmother. You have to protect your sister. You have to protect all of the women. That was instructed to him from a very young age. That was instilled onto him. You have to protect the women. That's what we do as a clan, as a tribe. Sokka does not look down on women because they are inferior. He is the protector of his clan. So he sees himself as someone who should protect others. And in his tribe, just so happens that women didn't learn to fight. They didn't learn to be warriors. So he's not used to having women know how to fight, know to be warriors, which is why his victory in accepting not only Suki as a warrior, but Suki as his trainer for combat in his journey to learn how to be a leader is one of the best things you can do for Sokka. Let him start out the show being wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. If he starts the show thinking he has to protect women because they can't fight, let him. Prove him wrong throughout the show. The most important thing about Sokka as a character, his journey is to learn how to be a leader. And he learns to be a leader that is a leader better than his father ever was, and a leader who sees women as fellow warriors. And what does he do? He teaches his fucking tribe to be fucking warriors. That's his journey. And that's what is so rewarding about it. If you take that away, his relationship with Suki won't feel as rewarding, won't feel like a victory if he overcomes and if he changes the way he sees the world. Because if he's already correct about it, if he already sees the world as, yeah, of course women are warriors, and of course they can fight, you don't have those victories all through the show. So that's why, personally, that's why I have a big problem with Sokka. Because he needs to realize that women are worthy warriors and they can kick your ass and they can be avatars and they can be Kyoshi warriors. Of course they can. It's okay for Sokka to think they can't at the start of the show and being proven wrong. Give him those victories as a character. You know what? I saw the world this way, but you have taught me to see things differently. Let the people that he comes in contact with change him as a person. It feels like such a concept these days. It feels like it's a concept that the writers for the show don't grasp, again, just from an article. I hope I'm wrong. I hope they prove me wrong. But I really didn't like what they had to say about Sokka. Because Sokka, he comes out, he says things that he does things that can totally be read as sexist. He does not think women shouldn't fight because they are weak because he's sexist. He doesn't think women shouldn't fight because the men in the village, in the clan, should protect them. Because it's his response. It's a weight he carries. It's not something that, it's not him disregarding women as a species, as a gender. No, because it's my responsibility to protect you. And it's the responsibility of Suki to show him we can fight alongside each other. You don't need to protect me, and you can trust me to fight alongside you. And I think it's damaging to the character if you take that away from him. That's just the way I see it, but that's a great question, and it's a great question to end this episode on. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you for all the great questions. Special shout out to Luis Feliciano, to Tony Movie Chappie for their support. And we're done, guys. Next time we're doing this show, it'll be on Friday. Again, it'll be on Friday the 9th. Will it be what time, Zach? Are we doing morning?
I think we're looking at 8:30 a.m. right now.
8:30 a.m. Okay. 8:30 a.m. Friday the 9th. 8:30 a.m. PST?
MST.
MST.
We're still,
yes.
we're still 1 hour ahead of California.
Yes. Because we're going to be in the same time zone for this one episode. So I'll schedule the episode about maybe Wednesday when we decide what we're going to talk about. And
Maybe the night before. We'll see.
Maybe the night before, for sure. Yeah. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for the greatest episode of this podcast ever next week. And until the next time, love each other and love the movies.